All right, we are here with Calix, Guided by Fate. 3-minute 2/2. Whenever this or an enchantment enters, you put a counter on a creature you control. It will always be Calix. And whenever Calix or an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of an enchantment. So you can hit your opponent with this and then copy an aura. So that's what I'm trying to do. This is a go tall strategy, right? Just sort of an Voltron, put everything on one creature and smash your opponent in the face for 1,000. It can run Llanowar Elves. It now has this ability to have turn 2 Calix. I've only played against Calix once, but it seemed pretty solid. There are a lot of protection spells, and some of them are even inside of your auras. It's not just like a random instant that protects this. I'm running the equipment. They're all right. I don't really know how amazing they are, but they can, for the most part, make your thing unblockable. But again, that really doesn't matter either. They're just sort of here, but they could be random enchantments instead, just to have more on-theme stuff. But I don't think Calix needs more enchantments. I'm already running like all of them. I'm not going to go enchantment to enchantment, but just all the auras that are worth running, all the enchantments that are worth running, and then trample over your opponent with a giant Calix. Let's do it. Skrelv. Actually haven't played a game with Skrelv yet. Every Atali player has Cavernous Souls. It's funny. I've seen Cavernous Souls named on Dinosaur so often. It's kind of nuts. Alright, opponent struggled with playing ramp spells. Interesting. Let's play... I actually don't have any good way to stop what's happening. I guess I'm just swinging. Well, it's really large and very difficult to deal with, but it is still beatable. Most Atali hits here out of my deck are kind of useless, but they have some pretty scary ones. Kind of. Skull Spore is not it, though. And they got a sword that doesn't really... Yeah, the sword doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Do we expect our opponent to block is the question. Should I kill this? Probably, right? I don't know how my opponent, like, doesn't want to block. So. And then we can get around the token pretty easily. Yeah, my opponent's going to need something real spicy here. I don't know what that is. But I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it exists. They can't recast Atali. I have ways to give this flying, and I can make it unblockable. So green things can't target it, but that doesn't. Still doesn't one-shot them. Do I have the one-shot here? I think they're dead? I don't know what they could possibly do here. No? Guess they can't really copy the second pushback. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. It actually let them target the same target through hexproof. It looked like it did, at least. That was weird. I thought that wouldn't be allowed. Huh, I don't know how it works, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this had hexproof when the second copy of this entered, or before it entered, so it was weird that it looked like it targeted. Maybe the game just forces you to target something so it can actually resolve without, like, breaking Magic Arena. But, I don't know if this was the clone Phantasmal image and that, like, got around hexproof. That would be kind of lame, right? Because then it would die anyways being targeted. Alright, I added some mana, like, things on 2, because this does kind of feel like a 4-mana commander. I almost every single game have to protect it immediately, right? You can't really just do nothing, nothing, nothing Calix. You sort of have to actually play the game, so it's hard to play around all the removal. If I play it on turn 3, it just dies very, very often. So I'm going to try some mana things to do on turn 2, so I can more reasonably play this on turn 3. Okay, well, I have absolutely no idea what the mirror looks like. I am on the draw, which is probably not ideal. Okay, let's get rid of this one. Yep. Opponent does not lead with Skrelv or Llanowar Elves. Candy Trail, I'm not sure the purpose of. Does it have anything to do with this? No, not really. Okay, so this is a little bit more go wide nonsense. What does this do? Counter to put on this, draw a card. So I really want to kill that. Or just deal with it in some way. Dusk Legion Duelist is pretty cool. It's a way to draw cards. But still, I think going tall with Calix is more what you should be trying to do. Does my opponent ever deal with this card if I put it here? I'm curious. How do you deal with this? Protection from white is all I can think of. Oh, that is an enchantment. That is an enchantment. It's a little weird, though, as like a... Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, though. So I can... I'm gonna not play Calix right now. Opponent has a bunch of random nonsense in their hand. I guess I'll take that one. And I'll pass. Virtual Loyalty seems weird. Yeah, they're just not all in like I am. That's all. So I can probably play this, it seems, a little bit safely. So this draws a card. And then I can grasp it. But I think I'll just play this. I did actually draw a protection spell. Lucky me. I actually drew a protection spell. Opponent is doing all sorts of enchantment nonsense. Oh boy. And they have this, which returns 3 permanents. Let's probably stop Overlord with the Realm Breaker's Grasp. My opponent actually tapped their only blocker, right? So now I can do this. Put a counter here, swing face. Yeah, I'm going to swing face. I'm not going to flip this. And this copies the aura, doesn't it? I can just put it here. Surprised my opponent let me do that. I mean, they didn't know about this, but this seems really good. And it gets around this invasion here. So everything stopped completely. This is dealt with. I have this covered. That's another protection spell. I can play this kind of game. Because, yeah, we're just going to swing at the invasion here. I'm going to swing at the invasion. Virtue of Loyalty making it 2-2. Wait a minute. No, I don't care about this. By all means. Why am I trying to get rid of this? I'm just fine. I don't have to rush, right? But it's not like they're racing away with the game and card advantage. Okay, yet another mythic rare enchantment that makes blockers. But again, I'm kind of fine. Just do this. Like, they can chump block all day, but is it really getting you anywhere? I'm going to go face now because they're going to block regardless. I might as well, like, yeah, force the issue in this way. I'll cast Llanowar Elves, play around the mythical edict that Celestia has. Alright, Virtue gives him a 1-1 counter on the 2-1, and then it becomes a... Whenever this dies, you gain life. Alright, so one of these has to die here. I guess I can wait till after... They can actually swing. They chose not to. They could have, though. And I still don't feel too confident that it makes any sort of sense to cast a removal spell. This doesn't seem like it's getting my opponent anywhere. And I would really like the protection spell up, so there we go. This is very useful. Very useful. I'm not going to put counters on Llanowar Elves. That just doesn't seem right. They can pick up their cute little 4-2, but so be it. I'm gonna have to kill the 4-3 now, though. Oh, I forgot about Candy Trail. I forgot about that, yeah. I guess there is some card advantage. They might have wanted to cast this earlier. Okay. I'm gonna have to kill the 4-3 so they don't get the flipped threat. Oh, I should have killed it before all of this happened, huh? Whoops. Fortunately, still not enough to cause a major problem for me. Alright. If they don't block, I get to do stuff. So I got nothing here. I can still block this recruit before it would do some stuff here. I sort of have my opponent just in the abyss, basically. It's kind of funny. For some reason, my opponent chose not to attack and flip their thing. I feel as though that would have been very useful. But apparently not. So, he got it. I'm going to put a counter here now. It's already basically a 2-turn clock, so... Oh. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well, eventually they'll run out of stuff to do. Surely. Or not. Okay. Let's put the aura here. Opponent is finally out of gas. And the top of their library is pretty good. So, what do I do? Play this pre-combat draw off of Calix. My opponent found in essentially an O-ring. Let's copy this here. Unfortunately, this doesn't really do anything, but I'm still gonna just cast it now. So they can exile Calix, but I can recast it, and I still have an actual creature killing them, and they're not drawing 2 cards a turn, so. Oh. I didn't see they could do that. So if I get hit, what happens? Something very bad. Doesn't have trample. Alright, well, my opponent... that was a better top deck than I thought. It was a better top deck than I thought. This was a phenomenal top deck. In fact, this is basically what I needed. This game is kind of nuts. Let's swing. There's not much reason to not play this. I'm just going to run it out. Opponent, again, me and my opponent are just in top deck mode, except now my opponent is dead in 1 turn. Wow. I got there. I actually got there. Wow. Get wrecked. Get schmieded. What a crazy, crazy game that was. Okay, I took out some 3-mana cards, and I added Dusk Legion Duelist to draw cards, and Archivist to draw cards with this, and that seems fine. So, let's see what happens now. Another mirror match? Wow, I went from never seeing it to now it's all over the place. If I had a green source, I would probably just win. I'm going to keep it and try to draw one. I don't know. If I had the green source, I would probably just skyrocket past this. What on earth is this card? Okay, I did actually draw the green source. No way. Put a counter. Okay, so it's something to put your stuff on. Weird. Very weird. Alright, send it. No surprise there. Okay, so I have Calix Lauren's Escape up. Let's play this, leave up Lauren's Escape. That was a really good outcome for me. So now we're just insanely far ahead. I'm flying. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. This is just gross. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That just seems really good here. Yeah. I could draw later. Just shutting down my opponent is far more powerful. Yep. Look at that. I don't know how I feel about their trade, but their trade might have been forced with the attack here, because it's not just Calix that has to hit you, it could be any creature, and I can see how that would have been a problem. Letting them copy this would probably be lights out, but I didn't let them, and once we got the trade, this wasn't enough to turn the game around. Haven't had a pantry hand yet. Oh, that's bad. Again with the black decks, drawing 2 cards a turn before I get to play Magic. Opponent plays a death-touching creature. Well, that's not good. Let's tap this so my opponent can't blow it up and then I lose the game that way. I can't block either creature, which is kind of disgusting here. I just can't do anything. Just can't do anything. Okay. This might be my best case scenario, but still not really getting anywhere. Kind of surprised to see this attack. Maybe my opponent didn't actually read the spell I just cast. So, now what? I don't know how I'm winning if this isn't good enough. So I'm just going to do this. I think I'm still just losing the game, and not much I do really matters, because blue-black has every answer in the game in their deck, so... Another death-touching creature is annoying. I guess they're gonna block. I'm forcing the issue. And then don't do anything? Okay. I'm surprised I even untapped with my commander. Sure, that's... I mean, it's not fine, but you got it. Trample? Nope. Ooh, do I play this pre-combat? I think I do. Yeah, okay. They actually took it. A bit of a mistake, maybe? I don't know if that's a mistake. It probably isn't. Maybe it's not a mistake. Let's put the other aura here. And then just start growing a second threat. Okay. Yeah. Opponent was willing to not block for this to happen. So I get a card anyways, but this route they take damage. Okay, Ethereal Armor is close to being always lethal here. Oh, I get to smack my opponent with an enchanted creature still. Right, I forgot. So let's copy... Might not even matter what I copy, really. This thing? Alright, card draw engine is certainly online. Not the most ideal draw. And there's no reason to cast another card or do anything. I didn't think I'd get this far in this game. Alright, my opponent finally found a land. So if they have a sweeper, it's bad news bears. The Herp Derp Sheep Swing makes me think they do have a sweeper. They do not have a sweeper. Okay, I think we just win now. They just sort of left themselves dead. I think my opponent did not want to do that. Well, if they don't have anything in hand that saves them, then they're going to want to draw as much as possible. But I think taking the guaranteed stay alive line might be better by just casting, or not swinging here. But that's not what they did, so... Wow, I actually won this game. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect that. Awesome. Yep. Get schmieded. Get schmieded. I feel like it's still, again, faster to just click the pass button than it is to, like, actually just get hit and then just die anyways. It's funny. But, yeah, I did not expect to win this. Now, they had, especially with all the removal and the death touch creatures, this actually had to, this came back twice. Whoa, okay. Case of the Shattered Pact. I could actually run that. Is it an enchantment? It gets a land. No, that's all it does, though. So, this into die to board wipe. Joda's weird. I've never played against Joda before. Okay. Well, let's do this. Okay, you got. Okay, well, their hand is not threatening. I might want to flip this, though. We'll see what they do. It's looking like I'm going to really want to flip that invasion. Okay, they do just simply run this out, which is what I wanted to see. My opponent knew I let them keep it, so it's interesting they chose to do it anyways. Let's play this here. Alright, get wrecked. Get absolutely schmeeded. This probably takes ossification, but I'm not sure. Oh, shoot. Okay. Opponent made a decision that was fast. So let's play the land they don't know about. And that is flash, trample. Let's see if they block. If they don't, I mean, yeah, them blocking is what's going to dictate what I cast. They don't block, so we play this. Opponent is severely struggling. Passing priority with a Fabled Passage. Nothing new, I guess. Holds 20 minutes of priority and then does nothing with it. Sounds about right. Blooming Marsh? Wow. Blooming Marsh in a deck like this is nuts. Void Snare was probably one of my best draws. So I'm gonna cast it. I mean, all the pacify effects essentially are just really, really good there, so. And I know I'm giving my opponent perfect information by playing the land, but there's not much value in that, really at all. There is nothing I can do about this. I really, really want to draw a land. I did. Nice. Does my opponent have the untapped land? Let's find out. They've played double tap land. These fast lands and attracts are bonkers to me. Absolutely bonkers. Very surprised to see that. Very surprised to see that. Okay. Of course, my opponent's last card is a counter spell, but I can pay. They do get to surveil too, so very likely they find the land to, like... Oh, well, they actually binned 2 non-land things. Interesting. But now if they don't block... they might not block. They block. Alright, so this demands a top deck land. Otherwise, they did, like, if they didn't block, they could have just done it. Oh, tap land. Tragic, opponent. Tragic. We are going to play this now? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when I cast it. That is a very good draw. Okay, so not sure what my opponent does at this point. I don't know what gets them out of this. Atraxa doesn't, because they just tap out. Yeah, this doesn't cut it, right? They find a land, a Liliana, so this might just be my last attempt at killing them, but can I just do, let's see, 14 plus 6, 20 damage? Maybe not. Oh, wait, but this prevents the damage Atraxa deals, so they don't gain any life. It still soaks 7, but they don't gain any life. Let's be mana efficient. Let's just be mana efficient. That doesn't do anything. Again, this is my last turn anyways. I'm just gonna run out my whole hand. What was the last card I didn't know? Assassin's Trophy. Alright, let's take the cover up out of spite. And this should do it. Because again, they don't gain any life. Nice. Really nice. And we're at 44. Look at that. Oh man, good old Armadillo Cloak. Or I guess the new Armadillo Cloak that actually says the word lifelink on it. Awesome. Love to see that. Yep, we just got out from under Atraxa. But you could see, once my opponent got to the turn after Atraxa, the game was probably over. It was probably GG. Okay, so it has some pretty satisfying, very explosive wins. It feels like Aragorn, except you don't have to play all these like specific color combos or whatever. I mean, I guess it's closer to other Voltron strategies like Light Paws, SRAM. I think there's a Bant one. I'm trying to think of Historic Brawl, because in Standard there really isn't anything except Calix. And Calix is essentially a must-answer threat, which is your, you know, the power behind the card is if your opponent doesn't deal with it, they sort of just lose the game exponentially faster, right? Like, it's just, every turn is way, way worse than the last turn, and you're just ramping out of control with the size of your Calix, and it's hard to keep up with it, but it's easy to kill it, so it doesn't matter if they, honestly, even if they go a couple turns with ignoring it, there are cards like Sheoldred's Edict and, well, all the Edicts, Liliana the Veil, just in general. If you only have Calix, you're sort of doomed to the Edict cards, right? There are some Edict cards, even if you are playing more creatures than I am. I've seen creature-based Calix strategies, which are alright. I just really like going all in on Calix. That was my plan, at least. I mean, I could play a green-white creature deck all day, and it just gets swept out by all the sweepers anyways. But only relying on Calix is kind of a cool thing. It's just not very good. I got some cool wins, but I had a lot of losses. This is probably the... No, this isn't the first deck I had a ton of... Wait, what am I talking about? I tried Koth and that other one. Yeah, this is not the first one that had a terrible win rate, but I gave it a lot of time. And it's just so hard to win games when everyone has removal. It's not even just the black decks, too, right? The white decks have sweepers, and I mean, I'm saying stuff I've said before already playing this format. So unfortunately, while you can play a go tall strategy, it just doesn't work. The format is so prepared for Calix, it's not even funny. And those things that are prepared for you are not them teching into the Calix matchup. Oh, I gotta play around the hexproof 10/10. Your opponent. No, it's like, no, just play the normal cards you'd play anyways. Calix is almost always against all 5 colors, maybe not mono green. Almost always, you cannot play Calix with 3 mana and pass the turn because it almost always dies when you do that. So you need a protection spell, or you just simply do not cast Calix. And when you're not casting Calix, you better have something else you're doing. And when you're not doing anything else, you probably lose the game. So you probably end up mulliganing for certain cards a lot more often than you mulligan in other strategies, and you already have an uphill battle. So it's a tough matchup, very tough commander to play. Unflinching Courage, I didn't start the play session with this card in my deck, but it ended up being very useful. There were mono red decks. I think actually every mono red deck I played against had Urabrass Forge, which is one of the threats that I couldn't deal with because I can't pacify spam it. And Urabrass Forge was just an increasing damage thing, and I was just dying where I felt like I should have won stabilizing against them, but I just didn't have consistent ways to gain life and whatnot. Basilisk Collar is another way to gain life, and it's not an aura, but the lifelink alone is just pretty valuable. I think it's valuable because it turns your matchups that are sort of ignoring your opponent's damage output into auto wins, basically. If they're not interacting with Calix, let's say mostly this is for red matchups, then like a Calix grows too quickly for the red deck, and then you just give it lifelink, and the game is just over, right? There's nothing your mono red opponent's going to do other than one-shot you, but they got to do that basically the turn after you've given Calix that's a 5/5 lifelink. And if this hits your opponent, right? Unflinching Courage has trample, so it's hard to actually block Calix at all. And then you get another Unflinching Courage on top of it, and then the game is super over if it wasn't already. It's kind of funny. You can run O-Ring. I was running Stasis Snare, or not O-Ring, Banishing Light, because they're kind of the same. The Flash does have value, though. You could probably run both. It starts to get a little crazy to play a bunch of 3-mana cards with Calix. At least it felt that way when I was playing the Voltron style. If you're playing the Go Wide, you got a bunch of creatures, all this jazz. I think that game was in the video that I'll probably upload, but the Go Wide Calix did have other things to do that were also enchantment based, and you could still run auras and whatnot. And I think that is probably just a better way to play Calix than what I did. But at that point, I would make the argument, play a better commander in general, right? Because if you're going to go play a bunch of creatures that are green-white, I don't think Calix is the one I would pick. You probably want something that does a little bit better at keeping up with your opponent, assuming you are willing to play the game out after they cast Damnation. So, still a fun strategy, just can't recommend it. So like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.